sorry. Somehow I couldn't. Whew, I'm fine now. So yeah, today it's gonna be um, a popcorn chat video on Twilight. Now, Twilight is based on the book by Stephanie Meyer, directed by Catherine Hardwicke, and it was released in theaters on November 21st, 2008. And of course, it's this romance, fantasy movie based on the book. Now, it stars Kristen Stewart as Bella Swan and Robert Pattinson as Edward Cullen. And honestly, now of course, starting with this movie and this story, this romance fantasy story of a vampire falling in love with a human. Now, I would say that that is of course an interesting concept, because we have seen those before in other vampire movies, but this itself takes a different take on it, but in a way where maybe it could have been done better, you know, because, and here's the one thing I feel I have just a bit problem with. Well, maybe not a bit actually. There's just a lot where I think, okay, this could have been better, that could have been better, this could have turned out differently, or this could not have been this. You know what I mean? I feel like there's so many things that could have been fixed, that could have done better. But the one thing I don't quite get is that with the first one, it starts off with this, I would say this one does have this feel of a gloomy atmosphere, but it has like this, kind of like this light, blue tint to it. I don't know why, because I feel like as you're watching a movie, of course, you would expect for the movie to look a little bit more colorful, and where you would see just pretty much everything in color, you know. But with this blue tint that they decided to go with for the first movie, I don't know. I mean, I don't like the blue tint. You know, I don't, because I feel like it makes the characters look a little bit more pale and, you know, kind of gloomy. And I feel like it doesn't really show, uh, like, I feel like it doesn't really bring out the colors to this movie. And that's one thing I have a problem with. Like I said, cause yeah, that's pretty much like during the whole movie with this blue tint. So that's the only thing I don't care for, and that I don't like. Cause I remember even the first time watching it, at the time I'm like, why does it look like that? Why does everything look so blue? You know, almost like you put on these sunglasses, and the sunglasses like have this color tint to it, whether if it's like a yellow tint, or kind of like or maybe like pink. I can't imagine Twilight having a pink tint. No, I mean, as much as I love pink, I wouldn't want to watch a whole movie with a pink tint color. But still, it's almost like you're putting on these sunglasses, and everything around you just looks like the color of these sunglasses have, depending on the color, whether it's yellow, orange, pink, or maybe like like a bluish color. And I feel like that's Twilight. Like someone had just put on these sunglasses, and all you see is this like kind of like this light, kind of pale bluish tint, and everyone else just looks a little bit more pale. And I feel like somehow it doesn't really bring this story to life, and I feel like it doesn't really bring the characters to life in a way, especially to show the characters of who they are with this tint, and I just feels like it just makes it look like it's kind of stale. You know what I mean? So that's the only thing I don't like. But like I said, there's other things too that I don't like that could have been different. Like, well, as I mentioned before, that I do think that someone else could have been maybe a better choice for Bella Swan, and I don't know who that would have been at that time, but I mean, if any of you would like to have seen someone else playing that character, let me know, because I don't think I would have any clue to who would have played her at the time if it wasn't Kristen Stewart, because honestly, the way she portrays Bella is just I feel like she doesn't really bring the character to life at all. I just feel like she brings the character to life in such a way where it's just like I feel like there's no real depth of the character, like no real personality, and it just seems like I don't know, to me she just kind of seems like she doesn't know who she is, or that even though she probably does know who she is, but she's more like this very shy, maybe too shy, or maybe this very quiet, maybe too quiet of a character. And when she does speak, I feel like she doesn't speak like any regular human being would, because when she talks, she's like very breathy and so scuffy too, and I don't like that. That really bothers me. But yeah, she's like that when it comes to, I would say, the first one, the second one, and I would say maybe not as much as the third, but she's still like that a bit in the third. And when it comes to the fourth, um, still like that a bit. But I noticed that ever since when she does become a vampire, and we see her as a vampire in Breaking Dawn Part 2, that it seems like her vampire self, now with the fact that of her being a vampire, she is like, it's like when she talks, she no longer talks the way she did when she was a human. It's no longer breathy or scuffy, where she's like scuffing all the time. It seems like she talks to me, I was saying, like a like any other person would, where it's not very breathy and she's like scuffing all the time. So I've noticed that there was a change, but I was okay with that. I'm like, okay, well, finally she doesn't talk like that, like how she was when she was human, where it's like very, like say, very breathy and scuffing all the time. And it's like, okay, no one really talks like that, so why are you talking like that? So anyway, I'm sorry for that rant, but yeah, I just don't like that. And now, I would say, even though I didn't mind Robert Pattinson as Edward, but from what I've heard, he did not like playing the character at all. So because of that, then I would, if I had to choose a different actor to play the character instead of Robert Pattinson, then yes, I would definitely probably would choose someone I would maybe have in mind. But right now, I don't have anyone else in mind right now. But if I would, I probably would let you know. But yeah, because from what I've heard, he liked playing the character Cedric in the Harry Potter films. And I don't blame him for that. I really don't. So because he didn't like playing the character of Edward, then yes, I do think, because here's the thing, I think if he was not comfortable, if he didn't like playing the character at all, then yeah, I do think someone maybe could have at least considered maybe getting someone else, getting another actor that maybe could have suited the character of Edward better, only because I feel like with him, it seemed like, he was this kind of shy, kind of quiet character, but he seems likable, but at the same time, felt like there could have been more depth to his character, more of a personality, you know. I just really felt that. And I'll just say though, I actually don't mind with the rest of the cast. Like, let's see, Billy Burke as Bella's father, and Sarah Clark as Bella's mom, and let's see, there's Nikki Reed as Rosalie. I actually love her as Rosalie, so I think, yeah, I think that I would have stayed the same and not recast that character. And let's see, there's Jackson Rathbone as Jasper, so I think he was perfect for that. Oh my gosh, there's so many. Trying to think, Ashley Green as Alice, so she was a perfect Alice in my opinion, so she was very likable. And I will say this, and even for those who hate it, I'll just say this: I do dislike the movies, but overall, I will say that there are some things I actually do like. And there are some things here and there where I think it had potential where it could have done better. And if it had done better, then yeah, I do think I would have liked these movies maybe just a little more than how they actually turned out. But yeah, like I said, overall, I don't mind with the rest of the cast, especially with Taylor Lautner as Jacob, because I think he was the perfect choice for Jacob, so no need for a recast there. If you went back in time and had to do it all over again, so no. But of course, we don't see much of Jacob only because this was the first. But yeah, like I said, I like with the rest of the cast and with their characters, each one was perfect. But I think with the main ones, when it comes to Edward and Bella, I do feel like there could have been a recast. Or like I said, I think a better. I do think there would have been maybe a better actress for Bella, where she could have brought more depth and personality to the character. And same thing with Edward. I think, and because of the fact that Robert Pattinson did not like playing the character of Edward, so for that reason, I think there could have been a better choice for Edward. And I think if there was, I think Robert Pattinson at the time would have been happy to have like, okay, someone else has got the part, so at least I don't have to play this character. So maybe that would have made him happy if there was a recast. So I do think so. So yes, like I said, there's just little things that I do like, that I think that could have been better, that could have, yeah, turned out better, especially for the story and even for some of the characters, and even maybe certain scenes that could have turned out better too. But yeah, this just I think this is just one of those vampire movies where it's like you want to like it, but you just don't. But at the same time, like I said, if it had turned out better than it did, then yeah, I do think this movie would have been a very likable movie. But because it turned out the way it did, then yeah, I will say there are some fans, like, and I know there are some fans out there who still love the movie for the way it is, and that's fine. That's completely fine. But then again, there's some other people, I would say there's probably a lot of people who also just hate it. Completely hate these movies. But that's okay. Whether if you love it, like it, don't like it, or hate it, that's fine. So And yes, like I said, I also think with the atmosphere, I do think it could have brought color to the movie. I really think so because I noticed that when it came to part two, they did that. Like, they didn't use the blue tint. They actually used like how how we see everything in color. Like we see that I would say from like part two, even part three, breaking down part one, and breaking down part two, where we see everything in color. But with part one, it's the only one that has the blue tint, which it makes everything look somehow doesn't look, it doesn't stand out with the bright and pretty colors, and it just makes everything look a little bit, gloomy looking and pale and just like, I don't like that. But yeah, and I would say I think the music turned out good, but I think maybe if the music was a little bit more intense, then yeah, I think that probably would have been fitting for it if they had made the movie a little bit more different. Now, I never read the books itself, but if I hadn't read the books, then yeah, I think there probably would be some things from the books I probably would like to have seen in the movie. But like I said, I never read the books, so now I'm kind of curious. I'm kind of curious to like what happened in the books, because whatever happened in the books, I'm guessing maybe that could have been shown. Like there could have been some scenes of these certain parts of the book, or maybe, and I think this would have been good too, is to make the movie completely just by the book. And of course, if you want to change something a little bit, I would say, yeah, just change it a little bit here, a little bit there, but don't change it completely. But not sometimes, but that does happen. It happens um, where when someone does a movie and they don't exactly go by the book, like they might do some scenes from the book, but overall they just do the movie on its own, where they just kind of change it completely, where there might make a lot of changes, like, okay, instead of this, like how it was in the book, we're gonna change it to this or to that. And it might be for maybe some reasons, maybe to make it more intense, maybe to make it more dramatic or more terrifying or whatever. But it's like whatever happens in the book, you should at least show in the movie. Or if there's something in the book that you feel that would be very uneasy and uncomfortable to put in the movie, then yeah, of course, then don't show that. Just try to make up something, write something unique and creative, where you don't have to put this things from the book into the movie. You could just write something, or you could write your own scene and be like, okay, I want to put this instead. So yeah, I just want to say that's the popcorn chat on Twilight. Because overall, like I said, there's just little things I like that I think that could have turned out better, and the blue tint of it was just not necessary, and the casting choices, like I said, I like the rest of the cast. But as far when it comes to the main ones, was just Edward and Bella, I do feel that could have been a recast of it. And of course, even with the fact that with the story of them falling in love, okay, well, we've all seen that. We've all seen that in like movies and everything. But I feel like did this really have to be a love story between a vampire falling in love? Okay, maybe it could have been where maybe they did fall in love, they were together, but it's like now And I think part two should have been where things are different, and maybe he's more of a friend than a boyfriend, but I don't know. But yeah, I would say especially the fact that knowing that well, let's see, she's a teenager and he's, of course, much older than her because he's a vampire, but they fall in love. So it's like with this somewhat teen romance here between them. I feel like I don't know. I just feel like the whole romance thing could have been more uh acceptable if she was an adult. Like, let's say if she was maybe in her 20s, like maybe in her mid 20s, like maybe if she was maybe, like, let's say 24 or 25. I think that would have been fine for a vampire romance story, but as a teen, no, because as a teen, of course, you're still growing. You're still thinking about what it is that you want to do with your life and what kind of career you want and everything. So I feel like Bella didn't really give herself time to be single, to think about what she really wanted, before getting into a relationship. So I just felt like she was just moving very fast. And so yeah, it just seemed like she didn't really have time to think of anything for herself. So that's the only thing that's also problematic, I find. So anyway, that's it for this. Like I said, overall, I think this could have been better, but that's pretty much it for this popcorn chat on Twilight. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. And so for more movie content, reactions, and dreams, subscribe and click on the bell so you'll be notified when I upload. That's all for today, and I'll see you at the movies.